Coming up on AgweekTV, soybean growers are nervous about a proposed Chinese tariff increase that could hit the region hard.
Why do so many ranchers calve during these cold winter months? We talked to a few ranchers to find out.
We'll find out what is driving the discussions here among dairy producers at the Central Plains Dairy Expo.
Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Rose Dunn. Soybean farmers are nervous about pending tariff increases on soybean exports to China. An announcement this week that China is responding to U.S. tariffs with some of its own sent soybean prices down. Soybeans aren't the only target of the latest tariffs, but they are of importance because they're the biggest U.S. ag export to China. Just over $14 billion went to China in 2016. North Dakota sends 70% of its soybeans, $1.5 billion worth a year, to China. Randy Martinson of Martinson Ag Risk Management says now producers will likely get much more aggressive selling their 2018 crop.
Traditionally, soybeans has not been a market that producers have been willing to sell early because that market's had the ability to rally on summer weather scares or whatever. So yeah, I do think producers are going to step up their selling when they can. I wouldn't be surprised to a lot of them to get up to sell up to their insurance guarantees before they even plant one bean in the ground.
NDSU grain marketing specialist Frayne Olson says the tariffs are still a proposal and wouldn't go into effect until the end of May. It's also not clear if the 25% tariff on soybeans would be the total or 12% added to the existing 13% or a 25% addition for a total of 38%.
So if we look at $9 soybeans local, then you add a 25% tax on that, that's about $2.25 a bushel. And so what is that $2.25 tax going to do on the flow of grain, the amount of grain we're going to be able to sell, and more importantly, at what price are we going to be able to sell it?
The Chinese are also proposing new tariffs on corn, sorghum, wheat, and beef. Look for much more on this complicated issue in the next Ag Week magazine. President Trump's trade actions have often left ag groups scrambling to figure out what might come next. Two key ag trade leaders recently tried to shed some light on Trump's trade approach. Spencer Chase has more.
AgriPulse recently convened the Ag and Food Policy Summit in Washington, bringing together some of the biggest influencers in farm policy, including officials from the Trump administration. Trade was a hot topic at the summit, and many are seeking to make sense of the administration's new approach. Ambassador Greg Dowd with the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative says it's all about leveling the playing field.
Too many producers globally don't appear to operate under the same economics of supply and demand and reaction to market forces that we do. These folks have been breaking the rules for far too long. And President Trump has stepped into the breach and decided that something has to be done about it. And he's absolutely right.
Outside of enforcement action, USDA Trade Undersecretary Ted McKinney says he wants to explore all avenues to expand ag exports.
If you equate our larger trading partners like the NAFTA countries and China, Japan, and others to a triple or a home run, we're going after doubles and singles. And by golly, we'll take a bunt or even a walk if it comes our way. And we all know that baseball games are won much more frequently on singles and doubles than they are triples and home runs.
There's been a good deal of concern about the Trump administration's trade approach, but McKinney asks observers to give things a chance to work.
I hope you'll keep headlines, rhetoric, even tweets and other things in perspective. Sometimes you have to push the boundaries a little bit more to even get partway to where you're going. And I believe the president is very serious about things he says, sometimes isn't always literal about it, but always serious. So keep all that in perspective, whether it's headlines, worries, even joys, keep it in perspective, because we all know the next day could be very different. And the same thing goes on in your business or your farm.
In Washington, I'm Spencer Chase.
The North Dakota Ag Department says an elevator at Page improperly disposed of farm chemical rinsate, but it isn't releasing any more details. Last summer, the landowner next to the elevator complained to the state about a dead spot that appeared to be caused by runoff from the elevator. Ag Commissioner Doug Goring confirms his department found a violation of state pesticide law by the Arthur companies, and they have been cited. He says state law prevents him from saying any more, but as Mickle Pates reports, the investigation is still going on.
The state says they did something wrong with chemicals at Page, North Dakota, but we may never know what or how.
The main concern that I have is for the groundwater. The thing that really bothers me more than anything is that about 60 feet down to the aquifer.
In June of 2017, Donald Garnis filed a complaint with the state ag and health departments. The retired farmer owns land next to the Page, North Dakota elevator, and he noticed a 2-acre dead zone in his field. When I interviewed him last year, Garnis suspected the elevator, owned by Arthur Companies, had sent runoff water into his field carrying fertilizer or something else.
We took some samples of a couple wells in the area to see if there was any possible contamination of groundwater. And then we also took some soil samples as well.
Carl Rockerman is Director of Water Quality at the North Dakota Health Department. He says their initial tests haven't found much to be concerned about. They did find some pesticides in one well, but they'll do some follow-up testing in the spring. And he says it's a good reminder to be careful with chemicals.
It's a good opportunity to, especially as we get into the growing season, to remind anybody that's handling fertilizer and chemicals to be mindful of what they're doing with some of the byproducts that generated from that, from rinsate from the containers to the equipment and the tanks. So just be mindful of how you're handling that. It can have an environmental impact if it's not dealt with appropriately.
While the state health department moves forward on water questions at Page, North Dakota, the ag department's job is finished but secret. For Ag Week, this is Mickle Pates at Bismarck, North Dakota.
The Arthur Companies is a group of grain elevators owned by the family of North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, and he is on the board of directors. Ahead on AgweekTV, dairy producers get some advice on surviving a depressed dairy market.
Advanced Grain Handling is your regional dealer for grain handler dryers, bins, and accessories. With Grain Handler's continuous mixed flow drying systems, you're capable of high levels of grain dryer efficiency on all types of grain, including seed grain. Advanced Grain Handling also carries West Steel's quality stainless steel products for on-farm and commercial grain storage solutions. Advanced Grain Handling has licensed and trained service techs and a licensed electrical shop. Get a hold of Chad Kylo to find the perfect solution for your farm.
I'm 120, I'm 30, I'm 30, 55, once around the block, 212 miles right here, now having time's up. So
if you're thinking about selling a piece of land, or you're looking to sell some farm equipment, or if you're thinking about a retirement or involved in an estate, give us a call. We'll sit down and tell you all about the Steffes way. We think it's a good way. That's how we approach it. If any of those are in your plans, give us a call or go to steffesgroup.com. Learn all about us. Hope to hear from you.
Superior Grain Equipment offers storage and drying solutions designed for your grain handling needs. Mixed flow grain dryers from Superior offer even heating to reduce heat stress cracking, so you get higher quality grain, higher test weights, and better prices. Plus, they use half the energy of conventional screen dryers. Experience cost savings and superior grain conditioning. Make the superior choice today with Superior Grain Equipment.
Intelligent farming means more crop from every acre. That starts with smart machines and precision application. Introducing the new Rogator C-Series from Challenger, featuring a newer, smarter, more precise way to apply fertilizers and nutrients, more accurately and more efficiently than ever before, resulting in less overlap and less crop damage, all to make you more productive and more profitable. To find out more, contact Butler Machinery today.
Get your row crops off to the right start with an early riser Case IH planter from Titan Machinery. Case IH early riser planters feature high-tech yet rugged planter row units that quickly adapt to the toughest seeding conditions, while leaving an optimal seed bed to promote early, uniform plant emergence. Only Case IH early riser planters are designed to leave a flat-bottom seed furrow, ensuring consistent seed depth and even emergence. Contact your local Titan Machinery location today for more information on the next generation of planting technology from Case IH.
A depressed dairy market is taking its toll on the dairy industry in the upper Midwest. As a result, producers are looking for ways to cut costs, but they're also eyeing trade and policy that could hurt their profitability. Michelle Rook has more from the Central Plains Dairy Expo in Sioux Falls.
You would expect dairy producers to be talking about low milk prices here at the Central Plains Dairy Expo, but the focus has been more on labor, dairy policy, as well as trade. The president of the South Dakota Dairy Producers says workable immigration policy is critical, and the industry is backing the Ag Act, or H2C program.
The Goodlatte bill is going to be an improvement. It's something that we haven't had for many years.
Passage will be tough in an election year, and it doesn't have a Senate companion bill, but it may be the only legislative option. To help with low prices, economist Maren Bovik believes improvements in the margin protection program in the omnibus will make it effective.
We reduced the premium substantially for the first 5 million pounds, which will help producers to about 24 million pounds because they don't have to protect everything. They can protect just a quarter of their production.
Plus, he says the payments were also accelerated.
Now, every month there can be a new check coming out if the prices are low enough.
Dairy producers at the show were also talking about trade concerns with China and questions about progress with NAFTA renegotiation.
China is always a moving target. They buy in such large volumes, and when they quit buying, it dramatically affects our price.
We've had a lot of issues over the years with Canada, and their Class 7 milk program that they have up there is really making an impact.
Farmers say the key is to avert a trade war or disruptions in an already depressed dairy market. In Sioux Falls, I'm Michelle Rook reporting for Ag Week.
This hasn't been an ideal calving season. February through April is the main calving time for the region, but this year the weather has been especially rough on man and beast. Jenny Schleck talked to some producers about the challenges.
February, March, and April are the predominant calving months in the Northern Plains. But in a year like this, when the winter won't stop, it makes us wonder, why is that? I spoke to a few ranchers about their reasons for calving when they calve.
Pretty tough. It's been a challenge.
Cold, snowy springs like this make Darren Lucina think about moving his calving schedule to mid-May and June and better weather.
You'll find out if you really like cows on a spring calving out like weather like this. If you don't like them, you probably won't last.
Lucina's a little concerned about his hay lasting until he can turn his cattle out to grass. But for now, this time of year works better with his job as an agronomist in addition to farming.
I figure I'm probably young enough to keep doing it now. Maybe retirement time, I might move it into that kind of weather.
Veterinarian Paul Motter says he's aware of some ranchers having major problems with hypothermia and keeping calves alive.
We tend to see some abortions and stillbirths and some early twins anyway, so people that are just starting out calving are probably seeing a little higher death loss than the people that are closing in on the end of it.
Craig Kemet has about 350 cow-calf pairs. His normal start date is February 25th. For him, mud is a bigger problem than snow and cold.
We live in a pretty flat area, and we try to get done before we get a lot of mud, which really hasn't helped this year. There's mud everywhere. It's just kind of what we have to deal with.
John Kuipers has calves and lambs. While he's thankful for the moisture the snow brings, the up and down weather has made it one of the toughest years he's seen in his more than 50 years of raising livestock. It could lead to some changes in his operation.
I've been researching for 5 years to go into May 15th calving. It's just I'm concerned that it'll be too hot for the bulls to work. Some say not, but yet we know from years of experience that when it gets hot, you're not getting any cows bred.
Besides the weather, marketing plays a big role in determining the schedule.
This is not for the faint of heart.
In central North Dakota, this is Jenny Schlecht for Ag Week.
Jenny will have more on calving in the cold in the next Ag Week magazine. Is winter ever going to end? Your agri-weather forecast is next. And later, we'll hear about the importance of micronutrients to crop health.
This is Dennis Beliski reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On-site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
Levosol is the most advanced nutrient efficiency solution, making phosphorus, zinc, and other key micronutrients more available to the plant. With 3 modes of action, it unlocks the nutrients in the soil. It makes the nutrients that it's applied with more available, and it is mobile in the plant for season-long activity. For more information, talk with your agronomy partner or visit wcdst.com.
Mayo Manufacturing, your Red River Valley source for Batco. Mayo Manufacturing, your Red River Valley Batco dealer.
Martinson Ag Risk Management offers a variety of crop marketing and crop insurance packages to our customers. With over 40 years of experience, our dedicated staff works hard to ensure you get the best advice on crop insurance, marketing, and risk management. Contact Randy or any of the staff at Martinson Ag Risk Management today at 701-205-4200 or visit us online at martinsonag.com.
DTE is your headquarters for flatbeds and service bodies for your truck. Whether you need to haul bales, heavy commercial equipment, or take every tool with you, DTE has the truck equipment you need. We have over 200 units on hand or will custom build a flatbed or service body on your truck.
Like this Dewey's bale bed with dual lift cylinder arms. Lift, load, and handle your bales with ease.
When you need help at the farm, your business, or in the oil patch, count on DTE. DTE, let us build a truck for you.
Weather portion of Ag Week now, starting out with a different sort of a map tonight. We all know March was fairly cold across the northern United States and the eastern United States in particular. This particular image, which was posted onto Twitter by the University of Alabama at Huntsville a couple of days ago, shows the satellite infrared estimate of lower atmosphere temperature. And yes, it does show where the blue is where it was colder than average. Across much of northern, north central, much of eastern United States was quite cold. There were other pockets that were very cold. Most of Europe was extremely cold. England, UK was very cold. Many of these areas quite snowy as well. But what's interesting about the month of March is while we do have these cold areas, which includes a lot of where we hear the news from, there also were many areas that were quite warm. And in fact, the month of March worldwide was warmer than average. Not quite as warm as March a year ago, but still it has been warm. So why so cold locally? Well, it's the old Hudson Bay low, which built down into the Hudson Bay region about Christmas time, gave us 2 weeks of really cold weather, and it's been kind of in this general area since. Was really invigorated last week, and it sent another shot of Arctic air down into the northern plains. That's why we've got the cold weather pattern for the time being. And yes, it is unseasonably cold, although there is precedent, certainly, for this kind of weather in the past. The cold will relax a little bit over the next few days. By the middle part of the week, we'll be down to still below average, but probably days above freezing anyway. But that cold weather is going to lurk around, and it's never really going to go away. And we will remain below average with the jet stream south of us throughout this entire week. Precipitation, we're starting off the weekend with some snow in the northern plains and upper Midwest. That moves to the east. Another wet system there. Looks like around midweek a possibility of rain and snow. Could turn into a storm. It's hard to tell at this point, but there will be that. And before the week is over, by the weekend, probably one more round somewhere in the northern plains of either rain and or snow. Again, we can't predict these exact tracks, but it will be remaining fairly wet. Through the middle part of April, same deal. Probably a better chance of getting rain than snow, but still some snow will be possible. Some parts of the northern plains because the weather will continue to be very much on the cool side, probably at least through the latter part of April, and the way things are looking, maybe even all the way to the end of April. Unseasonably cold weather. It has been unusually snowy of late. That does mean that we're going to continue to look at an idea of being very likely late into the fields this year. Don't get the idea it's going to stay like this forever. There are indications central and southern plains may start turning hot and dry sometime in May.
Micro Essentials is a unique product in the sense where it's a homogenized product that has 4 nutrients in every single granule. What makes it different than other products that are out in the country? So it has 4 different nutrients: nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, which is 2 forms of sulfur, and zinc in every granule. We're seeing multiple things. We have sulfate sulfur and elemental sulfur. The sulfate sulfur, we get the bulk of the use of it the first year. The elemental breaks down over time. I've had farmers come up to me and tell me that they not only see the benefit the first year in higher yield or higher quality, but they're seeing it in consecutive years. So it's a huge benefit for the grower to use it on a consecutive basis. Our overall goal is to increase our farmers' yields and help them produce a higher quality and higher yielding crop. It's giving them the opportunity to get more nutrients in one. It makes sense agronomically, it makes sense economically.
Stein Seed Company is home to one of the most prolific, highest-yielding corn and soybean breeding programs in the world. When it comes to research, yield is what matters most. With the largest private soybean breeding program in the U.S. and the industry's most aggressive corn research, Stein is in a class of its own when it comes to developing new, higher-performing seed. Choose genetics. Choose results. Give Shane Kylo a call at 701-866-9864 to learn what Stein Seed can do for your operation.
Are you ready? NDSU Ag Week 2018, April 16th through the 20th with guest speaker and farmer Kristen Clark. Reserve your spot for the annual NDSU Ag Week Banquet and Dance, featuring Silverado, with 100% of the proceeds benefiting Arthur's Barn. Agriculture impacts all facets of life, so let's celebrate the agricultural roots of North Dakota State University. For times and details, find us on Facebook at NDSU Agriculture Collective. Join us in our shared commitment to agriculture. Luckin Trucks and Parts sells quality used parts for all makes and models. With over 50 acres of trucks and parts and new inventory arriving daily. Family owned and operated since 1966, Luckin's specializes in the sale of quality used medium to heavy duty truck parts as well as pre-owned trucks, trailers, and construction equipment. If it's on a truck, we got it. Call us today and let us get you your part.
Welcome back to AgweekTV. It's the time of year to think about crop nutrition, and joining us now is Kurt Woolfolk. He's the senior agronomist with the Mosaic Company. What trends are we seeing in crop nutrition this spring?
So there's 17 essential elements that crops need, and so it's very important to look beyond those macronutrients like N, P, and K, and really start looking at the 8 micronutrients and how those play a part in proper crop nutrition. So when we look at those balances between a macronutrient, secondary macronutrient, and then the micronutrients, it's important to understand that each crop has an uptake and a removal pattern, and just kind of understand those and what fertilizer we need to apply to our soil to meet the crop needs.
So what is Micro Essentials and how is it different from other fertilizers?
Yeah, Micro Essentials is a premium phosphate product. It's a dry granular product. We have a sample here of the Micro Essentials SZ, that's the sulfur and the zinc. The main difference with a Micro Essentials type product is you have a homogeneous granule where the nitrogen, the sulfur, the phosphor, and in this case the zinc is all in one granule. That becomes very important when you compare that against a traditional blend. Often, as growers, we use a MAP, a monoammonium phosphate, 1152O. We'll typically put in an ammonium sulfate or maybe even a zinc sulfate in that blend. As we go apply that product, if we're using an air seeder or an air drill, often we don't get really good uniform nutrient distribution. So by having all 4 nutrients in one granule, you get very good uniformity of nutrient application, and that gives a lot more access for different root systems of different crops to take up that nutrient, especially when it comes to micronutrients.
So what crops is this used on?
There's a multitude of crops that can be used. There's 3 formulations because we do tailor some of the formulations a little bit by geography. So Microessentials S15 is very common for the Canadian provinces as we look at more canola and flax type crops. A little bit higher on the sulfur. As we get more into Montana, the Dakotas, and Minnesota, we're often looking at more corn, soybean rotation, so we're looking at the Microessentials SZ product.
What key nutrients are needed to ensure the growth of a healthy soybean crop?
The growers that do apply fertilizer to beans often think about potassium first. You know, K is front and center for that soybean grower. The research at Mosaic that we've conducted recently has really shown a light on the fact that soybean responds well to sulfur and even some of the micronutrients like boron.
Very important. Where can we learn more about Microessentials?
We have several great resources at the Mosaic Company. We have microessentials.com. We also have a great resource, cropnutrition.com. So if you ever have a desire or a need to learn more about what does sulfur do within a soybean plant, what does the potassium do for the corn crop, go to cropnutrition.com and find a wealth of resources available there.
Great information today. Thank you for being with us. Kurt Woolfolk, the Senior Agronomist of the Mosaic Company. Still ahead on Ag Week TV, we found a sculpture garden growing on an area farm.
Field Drainage Inc. has perfected the art of agricultural drainage by helping hundreds of farmers since 1978. We are a second-generation family-owned business for over 35 years. The Field Drainage Inc. team will work closely with you to conduct a thorough analysis of your needs and expectations, provide an estimate that fits your budget, perform all work in a timely and professional manner, and provide continued service after installation. Field Drainage Inc., your trusted drain tile installation company for over 35 years.
Advanced biofuel for America's diesel engines is clean burning and made from renewable sources like soybean oil. Biodiesel fuel works in any diesel engine, reducing emissions, helping us breathe cleaner air. Biodiesel adds value to North Dakota soybeans, creating jobs, improving the environment, increasing our energy independence. Biodiesel, it starts with soybeans, it's fueling America.
Get ready for the biological revolution. Agzyme by Ag Concepts is the leading biological soil enhancement product on the market today. Agzyme improves soil health and fertilizer efficiency for healthier crops and better yields.
Definitely is making a difference. I really feel that it gives me a bump in the soybeans and corn. I would say 55 up to 70 bushel soybeans. We've even had as high as 75. Probably the best bang for your buck.
Join the biological revolution with Agzyme by Ag Concepts.
Are you ready? NDSU Ag Week 2018, April 16th through the 20th with guest speaker and farmer Kristen Clark. Reserve your spot for the annual NDSU Ag Week banquet and dance, featuring Silverado, with 100% of the proceeds benefiting Arthur's Barn. Agriculture impacts all facets of life, so let's celebrate the agricultural roots of North Dakota State University. For times and details, find us on Facebook at NDSU Agriculture Collective. Join us in our shared commitment to agriculture.
Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? Ag Week magazine. Reaching over 70,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. Ag Week provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted. Ag Week. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580. If you're ever on Highway 20 near Elbow Lake, Minnesota, you might catch a glimpse of one farmer's artistry and spirituality. This sculpture garden is the legacy of Alan Bakke. It's just to the west of Grant County Highway 20, 2 miles north of Elbow Lake. Alan worked for 2 years on his final piece, a 20-foot statue of Jesus Christ. It stands on a grain bin foundation next to an existing grain bin. It's one of about 30 steel and cement sculptures he created. Bakke died in 2013. Thanks for watching this week's edition of Ag Week TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. We'll see you next week.